my name is Dakoda. I started Dax Health Solutions in January of 2025. I've been running it for about 6 months. I help people with their health and fitness goals, whether it's weight loss or fixing maybe their gut health, whatever it might be. And we do that through nutrition is always the base. And then we do normally offer different kinds of injections, whether they're natural, being like amino acids and vitamins, or we do offer other pharmaceutical drugs if needed. But in that process, we do blood work and EKG, and the main goal of when someone comes to meet with me is to get them to their goals the most efficient and effective way possible while increasing their health and quality of life. As opposed to, it seems like what most other clinics do, it really is not a goal of bettering their life and their health. It's more of just getting them to their goals. You know what I mean? So people will sacrifice their health, their metabolism, their heart health, their gut health, just to get to that goal, just to end up fighting, you know, keeping the weight off again. So that's really what I try and do and focus on.
And how did you get into health and fitness?
Well, so I've always been very active and into sports. And then growing up as a kid, I always looked up to like the male figure like Superman or anybody that's been built, because I was a very thin guy. I was never very built. I was never very strong. I was a runner. I was like 130 pounds soaking wet. And I always just strive to look like that. But in the process of learning how to build muscle and get that way, our family didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't learn how to do it through trainers. I didn't learn it from other people. I learned it through trial and error. And that wasn't just, you know, working out. That was also supplements. That was also food. And I'll admit, I took some supplements that weren't the healthiest for you, and I've been ripped off, and I've spent money that wasn't, you know, that I didn't need to spend to get me where I wanted to go. So in that whole journey, I've learned all the misinformation and the correct information, and I feel that people deserve to, one, be given hope that they can look the way they want to, and two, that it's not going to cost their savings. You know what I mean? And they don't have to take a bunch of pills to do it. So that's really what made me fall in love with fitness and wanting to do it for other people. But one life-changing event, I was in the military in 2014, and I was diagnosed with pancreatitis during the summer. And because of that, it caused them to medically discharge me from the military. And during that process of a hospital in West Virginia trying to figure out what my problems were, because I was in a ton of pain, a lot of vomiting, not very much eating, when they finally found out it was pancreatitis, normally the first thing a patient asks when they're diagnosed with something is, what can I do to get rid of it? What can I do to make it better? But normally when you're diagnosed with something, it's normally too late to make a change, or so that's what we're told. So I was told that the cause was probably alcohol, even though I was never a really big drinker. Or it could have been hereditary, but nobody in my family that I knew of had any pancreas issues. Or it could be due to my fats. Well, at that time, I was in like the bodybuilding lifestyle, so I wasn't having a lot of fats, but I was having a lot of carbs. So I slowly started to do a process of elimination through my diet, which a lot of people do to figure out what causes things. And through many years and many pancreatic attacks, which were very painful, it was a long journey, but I found out that coconut oil relieved the inflammation of my pancreas, when I was told from medical professionals fat was the cause. It ended up being coconut oil. The fat was actually part of the solution. So I was onto something. So I really, I gave up that bodybuilding dream look, because I then learned what it took to get that look, and I didn't want to go that route. So here I am now, trying to help others get to where they want to be while giving them hope that they can fix medical diagnosis that they've been told, or maybe they've given up hope because they've been told you either need surgery or there is no getting rid of it. And people, like I said, they lose hope. And as soon as they give up on themselves, it's over. You know, nobody's going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
How is your health now? And
My health is actually impeccable. I don't have very many sugar and carbs, which is different than most of the people that I train or I'm a nutritionist too. Everybody is so different. So everything I do is very personalized to their symptoms, to their past, to their lifestyle now, when they wake up, when they go to bed, how active they are. There's so many factors that come into it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm able to figure out what works for each individual person is because I've done this through trial and error myself, and I wouldn't ask someone to do something that I haven't done myself. So a lot of doctors or trainers, they may guide someone in a specific direction, but have they done it themselves? You know what I mean? So I've done pretty much every fad diet you could think of through trial and error, trying to heal myself, not only my pancreas, but also maintain my strength, maintain my build, and the aesthetic look, you know, because everybody wants to look good. You want to look good and feel good.
how has it been for you to help other people achieve their goals?
The thing that really drives me when working with an individual is not when they come in, because when someone comes in, they're still looking to kind of be sold that either I have the answers or our programs work. And I'm not here to really sell anybody. I'm here to educate people. And if they don't think it's the best fit for them, or it may be as simple as maybe they don't like me, maybe I'm too much or I'm too intense, and that's fine. I hope they find the person for them, right? But what is like the moment that keeps me going is when someone's been coming to me for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it always happens within a month. It's either the second week, third week, or fourth week. After they've seen their body change, their habits change, their mindset change, they come in that door, they step on the scale, and we talk about their symptoms. There's a fire in them. They're like alive again. They're like, oh my gosh, I just did what I haven't been able to do for years. And I did it, and I'm not starving myself, and I feel amazing, and it's natural. So it's like we're having a party, you know, whether it's that second, third, or fourth week, and then all of a sudden they believe. And they don't only believe in me and the programs and the systems we put in place, they believe in themselves. And that's what keeps me going. When you see that change in somebody, it's just like, it gives you enough energy to get through the day. It really does.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure that lights you on fire.
Oh my
too.
goodness, yeah. It's awesome because, like I said, when someone comes in, I have to really believe in them more than they believe in themselves. So it's more like I'm convincing them that they can do it. So it's like once they put a little bit of trust in me, give me 4 weeks, you know, give me 3 weeks. Once they do that and they see what they're capable of, I mean, it's endless what they can do, not only with their fitness and health, but we're talking about daily habits. So it's helping them with their energy with their kids. It's helping them with their focus at work. It's helping them with how they're sleeping. It's helping them with their digestion, so how often they're using the bathroom. I mean, if you feel constipated and bloated all the time, your stomach always hurts. You're miserable. If you fix that, they say your stomach is your second brain, right? And I truly believe that. But it's just amazing what you can do with a little bit of nutrition and a little bit of fitness and just taking care of your health, you know, optimizing your life.
Yeah. So what have you learned about yourself through the process of helping other people?
I've learned to be not only patient with myself, but I've really been practicing patience with others. Because every person that comes in and walks through that door to work with me, every personality is so different. Not every person, and it kind of goes to like business as well. Not every person's driven by money, you know? And it's the same when they walk in here. Not every person's driven by the scale. Not every person cares about having abs. You know what I mean? Everybody has such a different goal, and I've learned to accept their goal for my goal instead of me taking my goals and wanting for them what I want for myself. I had to really be patient and be receptive. I had to learn to listen, stop talking, you know, which is hard for me. I'm a big talker, and I talk a lot of people's ears off. So listening has been one thing I've been really working on, and I've learned that through this journey. And just really to live through other people, I guess, you know, their energy and their hope and their success.
I love that. It's like you're leaving space for them to show up.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, I I live by the rule of leading by example.
Okay.
And I think that goes along with not asking anyone to do something I wouldn't do. And it can be as simple as I've tried every fad diet, vegan, keto, carnivore. I've tried liquid diets. I've tried juicing diets. And I've done blood work because numbers don't lie about results. Regardless how you feel, you normally have to check the inside. But I think that's one thing that really separates me from anybody else is I'm so regimented and determined to figure out the best way to live in every way, whether it's optimizing sleep, whether it's optimizing relaxation, whatever I'm doing it, I want to do it to 110%. I want to do it to the best of my ability.
So it seems like you're a doer and you're like always on. Is it hard for you to rest and turn off?
It's very hard for me to rest, so I don't get a lot of sleep at night. I normally go to bed anywhere from like 12 to 1 to 2, and I wake up every day about 6:30-ish. And when I wake up, I go right to my coffee and I'm right back at it. So yeah, my biggest issue is definitely caffeine. I have to work on cutting that out, but focusing on one thing at a time,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And as soon as we realize an issue and we accept it or a problem, then we can fix it. If we don't accept it, we never actually hold ourselves accountable and realize the problem's there, so we're not gonna fix it. We're just going to make up excuses, you know?
I'm curious, what does your diet look like now? You said you've tried everything. What works for you?
So I don't share the diet I do now with
Okay.
many people because it will hinder the kind of people that will come and work with me because they may think I'm too strict or regimented. But the
Okay.
diet that I've been doing for 1.5 years is the carnivore diet. I cheat about once a week. On a daily basis, I have about 4 grams or 5 grams of carbs. I work out 5 days a week, so the energy, us needing carbs for energy is completely false. And like I said, I've been doing it now for about 1.5 years. I've had blood work on multiple accounts. And being on the carnivore diet, people think your cholesterol will be high. Newsflash, it has not been high yet. My energy has been better than ever. My joints, there's no pain. I have micro tear in my MCL on my left knee, and I have a herniated disc in my back. So the fact that I'm not feeling pain from those showed that a lot of my symptoms of inflammation was from carbohydrates and sugar. Because I'm not consuming sugar anymore, I don't have that inflammation, which is crazy. So that's the diet I'm doing. It's not for everybody. It's very strict, and I don't recommend anybody do it unless they're trying to fix certain medical diagnosis or if the diet aligns with their goals. It's not going to be for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So you believe that everyone has their own unique diet that works for them?
Yes, yeah. Everybody is so special and unique that if they're looking for guidance from a health or fitness professional, they need to make sure that person's taking the time to understand their body and do what's best for them, because what works for you isn't going to work for me. And I love using this scenario. If you take 2 people, let's just say 2 men, same height, same age, same weight and everything, right? Most professionals will say, well, based on these 5 factors, you need to have this amount of calories to lose weight. Well, how come, they could have both 1,600 calories, for example, but one person can lose weight or fat and the other person won't. And it dives deeper into that. It dives into, first of all, what is that individual's lifestyle and health like, and where are the calories coming from? If the person losing weight has their carbohydrates and sugar in check and has their fat in check and is getting enough protein, they're losing weight. But if this person doesn't have their fat in check, doesn't have their carbohydrates and sugar in check, and they're under eating on protein, that's exactly why. So it's not really as easy as saying calories in, calories out. Yes, it is calories in, calories out, but it's also very important when you're talking about your health, where are those calories coming from? Because you can lose weight, but losing fat is more important. That's the goal, not to just lose weight. We don't want to lose bone density and muscle mass,
Right. Does everyone that comes to work with you track their food, like everything that comes in and out? And do you believe in intuitive eating, or do you think that you have to track for a lifetime to maintain health?
Oh, no. So everybody is so different. I think this program is amazing. There's people that have seen me for years, don't get me wrong, and that's because we do have a couple amino acid and vitamin injections that just enhance everybody's quality of life. And they feel better because as Americans, we're deficient in a lot of vitamins and a lot of micro and macronutrients. And what I did is I researched what most people are deficient in, and I went and I pursued those injections so people would feel better, right? But when someone comes comes to see me, it's not a quick fix. It's not all about tracking, and it's not all about following a strict diet. It's all about creating habits and changing your mindset. And in that process, you will change what you're eating. Now, the first step may not be mindset. It may be nutrition, which is where the tracking comes in. So as far as the tracking, a lot of people like to track because when someone sits in front of me, I will set number goals on the core macronutrients, the 3 carbs, fats, and proteins. We don't focus on calories at all. People think I'm crazy. So I will set a high number and a low number. And normally through trial and error and process of elimination while fixing their health, normally their gut health or their metabolism, we're figuring out what numbers work for them. So a lot of people like the tracking route because they can eat what they want if they hit their numbers. And if they hit their numbers, they burn fat and they feel good, but they're still enjoying their quality of life. So the tracking is a great way to go for someone trying to hit their goals, but they don't want a super strict diet. So yes, tracking is awesome. Do you need to do it forever? No, because you learn to really eye up what serving sizes you should be having. You really learn that through time. Now there's some people that come into me and they're not good with the app or technology, or they don't like to track. It's too much work for them to weigh something, put it in the phone, because it is a lot. I'm asking a lot, right? It's a big change. So those people may prefer a diet. So the tracking on them is less work for me. But whenever someone comes and wants a diet, it's more work for me and less work for them. But it's more restrictive because they only can follow what's on that diet. If you veer off of that and you're not seeing success or you're having symptoms and you don't remember what changed on that day, but you knew something, I can't help fix those symptoms or figure out what the problem is because I don't have all my information or I don't have all the facts, right? So if you go the diet route, it's going to be more strict. If you go with tracking, it's less strict. And then you have other people where they don't really want to do any of either one. And those people, I normally will ask what route they want to go. And if I can assist them and I think I'm the person for them, I will pursue it. There's very few people that don't want to do either, and they don't really have a solution on what they want to do, and I end up not working with those people. Not that I like to push anybody away, but I know I'm not the route for them. You know what I mean? And whenever I work with somebody, I promise results. You're not paying for an injection. You're not paying for blood work. You're not paying for a diet plan. You're paying for results. So it doesn't matter what we're going to do in that program or that time we meet. You may start out doing an appetite suppressant and you may end just doing an injection. Or you might start out doing an injection and may end doing, you know, a diuretic, appetite suppressant, and an injection. There's really no cookie cutter way. Everybody is just so different what their body needs.
Do you have to work through emotions with people to get the results that they want?
Yes, so there is, so there's some, I mean, all the people I work with, I'm very lucky. I have a good group of people I work with, but there is some people that make the comment like, you know, this is a therapist session as well. and it's true, we get to talk about diet, but as we're talking about diet, I'm asking for feedback from their body because they know their body better than I do, and sometimes their body tells them things that they're not picking up on, signs. So in the process of me saying, how's your energy throughout the day? How's your hunger? Are you hungry every time you eat again, or are you stuffed? How's your sleep? How's your digestion? In the process of that, there are so many stories and other complications that come up, you know? Someone may say, well, I'm not sleeping well. Well, okay, let's look at what you're eating before bed. Let's look at what you're eating in the morning. And then it may be further. It may be stress. It may be kids are home from college and you're excited. There's so many other things that play in a role. Now, I'm no miracle worker, so you can't fix all these things with a vitamin and amino acid injection or nutrition. Some things you have to dive deeper, but in the process of fixing the nutrition, in the process of fixing one's health and bettering their quality of life, we try to find some of those things that may not be nutrition while fixing their nutrition. You know what I mean? It's just like, it ends up being a snowball effect. And as you build that relationship with somebody, I start to earn their trust, which I believe is very important. And I then also get to learn them. And in the process of doing that and taking notes every time we meet, because I meet with all my people once a week, we start to see patterns and the way their body reacts to certain foods, certain timings. We may look at week 2 when they lost a pound, but their energy was down. And then we look at week 3 and their energy was up, but they didn't sleep well. So we start to see patterns and things that we implement and we remove and how it reacts. And by the time someone's done working with me or I'm done working with them, I've learned so much about them in the process of, bettering and learning more about myself, which is just awesome. But they've also learned more about themselves than they've learned in 10, 20, 30 years, which is pretty crazy because it's just like a nutrition and weight loss program, but it's not just that. It's so much more.
It seems like you're helping people understand their bodies so
Yes,
that they
yeah.
understand themselves for the rest of their life.
Right, right.
That's such a gift.
Yeah, it is. And it's really cool that people are so open and receptive. Now, it takes a lot, especially in this day and world we live in, to build trust and gain somebody's trust because we're misled and we're misguided. So whenever you do have the opportunity to build that trust and really help somebody, it's like you don't want to waste that moment. It's like you get that once, so you need to take full advantage of that so that moment then creates another moment. Because if you don't optimize that moment, you may then not have another chance. It's very emotional for me and every person that I work with because they do come in and they've given up. Most people, I'm normally not the first option. I just started this business. I'm not well known yet in this world per se. I'm well known in the personal training world, but not the nutrition and weight loss world. So many topics that I feel like are skimmed over by a lot of professionals and they're not really dove into. And it comes down to time is money. And when people come in and they're looked at as a client or a patient, especially in this medical setting and be a patient, normally doctors or nutritionists or providers, you only have so much time. For me, it's like, even if I don't finish doing what we need to go over, I'm hopping on the phone by the end of the day. We're talking about it through text. And I think that's where most of the value comes from, is I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And when people talk about weight loss and nutrition programs, it's held to that exactly what it's called, nutrition or weight loss. This is nutrition, muscle building, weight loss, joint health, metabolism health. But again, where I was going earlier is I'm normally not the first person people go to. I'm normally the last or the second or third. When people come to me, they're coming to me from other clinics, and I don't want to mention names, but they're either losing hair, their metabolism is off, their gut is in pain, maybe they've taken a weight loss drug that they're vomiting. I mean, normally they're coming to me because they've heard of me through another friend or they saw a review and they've had enough, which is, I'm trying to get my name out there so I become the first option, not the last option. You know what I mean?
Well, it seems like you're more in it for the people.
Yes, yes.
And
yeah.
so you want people to be successful in their weight loss, right?
Yeah, I want them to be successful in life.
Yeah.
If they have more energy, if they look better, if they feel better, there's so many things that follow. And it goes way deeper than just looking a certain way or the scale dropping or, losing weight. It's so much deeper than that.
So what would you title this chapter of your life?
Oh, I don't know. The spot I'm in my life, my personal life, I am more happy than I've ever been and more thankful than I've ever been. I think where I'm at in my life is I'm learning myself as I think we always do, and which I always think I have, but I think I'm more open-minded and I'm more receptive. And what I mean by that is instead of forcing myself, so I'm a very goal-oriented person. So instead of looking at the goal and doing whatever it takes to get there, which has always been my motto, I don't live in the moment. Like I never live in the moment, and I'm trying to change that. And where I'm getting at in this is, since I'm very goal-oriented, I never really enjoyed the process of hitting my goals. And I like to look at myself as a very successful person when it comes to hitting goals because I'm very driven. But I'm learning to enjoy the process and live in the moment because I realize the older I get, time is flying by and time is so valuable. Where before I was very money driven because I grew up in a family, we didn't have a lot of money, we didn't have a lot of things. And I was always driven to, like, I want that car, I want that house. I want all these things that me and my family never had. And I always thought, okay, I want to buy my mother this car. I want to get my dad this thing. So I've always wanted to do that because I know that our family has never gotten to that point. So I've always been money driven, and I think I'm getting away from that. I think I'm getting away from that and going more into happiness, which, don't get me wrong, money's great. It's a tool, and it can provide happiness. It can help. Mm-hmm. But money, you're always, once you hit one thing, it's kind of like fitness. Once you hit that certain weight or you move that certain, or you get to a certain strength, you always want to get stronger. You always want to lose more weight. You always want more money. Mm-hmm. You always want more things. So it comes down to like, when are you good with what you have? And I don't think with my personality, I'll ever be happy with where I'm at. But that's where it comes down to, I am always doing my best to be better for me and for others, because I have to be and because I want to be, So for this chapter, it gave all the descriptions of why, but what would I call it? Becoming more grounded, maybe? I wouldn't call it loving myself, even though I'm learning that in the process. Mm-hmm. And the more I love myself, the more I can love others, I notice. So I don't want to call it that. It's an interesting growing part of my life, I guess I could say. I'm growing overall and not just in certain areas. I guess that's the way I would put it. Okay. Growth overall. I think that's what I would call it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last question is, what are you learning to love about yourself?
Oh, so really a couple New Year's resolutions I had was, one, starting Dax Health Solutions. I wanted to change at least 100 lives this year, meet with 100 new people, right? But with that, I wanted to post something every day because I've always been insecure with my voice. I talk fast when I'm on camera. So I wanted to work on that. And I've never been confident in the way I looked in photos. As a kid, I had buck teeth. I had to get braces. I had glasses. Some people call me the professor. I look like a nerd. It's always been about looks. Like, I've always been trying to look better so I'm not judged, because I was made fun of through periods of my life. You know what I mean? So it's always been about looks and being that built guy and that good looking guy. So I'm learning to love my voice. I'm learning to love and accept how I look on camera, realizing that I'm my own worst critic, and I see that that's actually almost true for everybody. So I'm learning to love all of my flaws, even though I'm, of course, never going to stop working on bettering them. I'm loving to learn the process. So I went back on Instagram videos when I first started, and I look and sound so ridiculous. I won't delete them because I know, looking back, it looks completely different, and I can see the growth and the progress. And I can't wait to see where I'm at in a year from now. And that's just being on camera, right? So back to my New Year's resolutions. I was going to make a post every single day and be on camera no matter how awkward I felt. And I made sure to do that. Help 100 people. I'm not halfway there yet, but I can't wait to be, right? So we're only halfway through the year. So I got some catching up to do. And the last thing was, I wanted to not say anything bad about anybody, because I know that even though I'm judgmental and I'm hard on myself, I'm also hard on other people because I'm a lead by example type personality. So I realized I had to back off because not everybody operates the way I do. And even though the harder I am on myself, the better I perform. And even though the more I critique myself, the better I get, it doesn't mean that's going to work for somebody else, right? So that was my number one New Year's resolution, was not to say anything bad about anybody. Because, as humans, we judge. We're very judgmental, even though we don't mean to be. And the first thing we judge somebody on is their looks. Hence why I believe it is so important. It's not everything, but it is important to take care of yourself. Because when you take care of yourself, again, it's not all about the weight. It's not all about how much you can move. It's about the respect you have for yourself. The determination. It shows that you're motivated, you're determined, you love yourself, you care for yourself. Like I said many, many times again, it goes so much deeper than just weight. I wanted to stick to not saying anything bad about anybody. I wanted to get that negativity out. I'm not perfect, but I wanted to get that judgmental part out of me because I've always been so judgmental, and I think that came from being judged so much. And that's what I'm learning to love about myself. Yes.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, of course.
And is there anything that you want to say directly to anyone watching this?
Anybody that's trying to hit their health and fitness goals, find somebody that's willing to invest the time to learn you. The easy route is not always the right route. Normally it's the opposite. Normally the narrow path and the most difficult route is the best route.
All good? Anything
Holy
else?
moly, I'm out of energy on that, yeah. Is it recording?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.